Well, President Obama is headed to Guadalajara, Mexico this weekend to meet with his North American counterparts, Prime Minister Stephen Harper of Canada and President Felipe Calderón of Mexico. So what are the key issues that should be discussed but may not be on the table? Joining us now from Washington is former U.S. trade negotiator Jeff Schott. He's a senior fellow at the Petersen Institute for International Economics, and he's written several books on NAFTA. So you should have some key insight into what's actually going to be discussed and what may be pushed off for further discussion later. Jeff, what do you expect to come out of this weekend's meeting?
I don't think there'll be any real big headlines. All three countries are still struggling with the deep economic recession, and that'll be the focus of a lot of the attention that the leaders discussions. But they probably will want to lay the framework for future discussions on how to deal with their economic integration, with their common problems with regard to climate change, with regard to the H1N1 flu, with regard to border issues, once they get out of this big economic mess.
Well, you mentioned border issues, and certainly one issue that the business community has been making some noise about is the issue of Mexican truckers and the ability of them to cross the border and to deliver goods. You know, U.S. unions have raised some flags, specifically the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, saying that they don't want truck deliveries coming from Mexico through to the U.S. because of safety issues. There are now a tariff as a consequence on those manufacturers who are trying to deliver products through the two markets by trucks. This is a hot topic issue, but it's probably not going to be on tap at the summit. Why?
Well, I think it's going to be discussed, but I think it's clear that right now what the leaders of Mexico and the United States want to do is settle this problem once and for all. It's been hanging around for more than a decade. And the way to do it is to find a way to resolve the concerns about safety in the U.S. market and allow the United States to come into compliance with its NAFTA obligations. No halfway measures, but really take care of this problem once and for all, and that's what the White House is trying to work out with the Congress right now.
And certainly, you know, there are many companies, Mary Kay Cosmetics, one cited in a Bloomberg article saying it cost them an additional $450,000 in added tariffs and taxes to get their products into Mexico because of this issue. But to drop that for a moment, I want to talk about the issue of drug violence and guns in Mexico and the U.S. There have been accusations that there has been increased gun running across the border into Mexico from the U.S. As a result of the drug wars there. Felipe Calderón has been very vocal and very active in terms of combating some of these cartels. That's coming at a cost for him, is it not?
It's coming at a big cost because it's raising questions about basic security in Mexico. And that, of course, affects the economy very well and is a factor in determining whether companies want to invest. It's also a factor on our relations in the border region. So both countries have an interest in working together in trying to find a way to reduce the violence and to stem the flow of drugs.
How real is that flow of specifically with guns and with arms? Is that real or is that rumored?
Well, there's no exact data on this because so much of it is smuggled. But it is a real problem. There is the clear evidence of the violence in the region, and there is a need for cooperation among our authorities, the policing authorities in both countries, to work together to try to control the violence and stem it and eliminate it.
There's been a lot of talk about a sense of protectionism within Mexico when dealing with international business because of past sovereignty issues. And I want to ask you to explain, if you would, the Merida initiative. I don't think many of our viewers are aware of this aid program between the U.S. and Mexico. What are the real implications of this, and what is it?
Well, this program is an attempt to provide some stability to the relationship and deal with these problems in terms of violence in the region. But in terms of its economic impact, the key is to remove the sense of concern about security, about the kidnappings in Mexico that are inhibiting investment and costing the Mexican economy and causing a threat to the growth in trade and investment between our two countries. That's what it's ultimately really about.
And it's a $1.1 billion aid program that has been initiated as part of this program. And I'm seeing that only a few of the Black Hawk helicopters, freight monitoring machines that have been promised to Mexico under that program have actually been delivered.
Well, I'm
sorry to cut you off there, Jeff. I'm sorry. We're running out of time here. But it's an issue that we'll be watching throughout the weekend and the NAFTA conversations.